Is this you?
I'm bored. I'm so lost and not in the cool island way. What if this has no romance in it? I just want to escape my stupid earthbound life. What's fantasy?
That was me pretending to be you. Thinking about venturing into fantasy, but you don't know where to start. Lost, confused, unknowing of the world of fantasy that lies beyond. Behold, me. I am here to guide you through the woods to the beauty that lies beyond. This book forest is too thick to navigate. Flad flad. First years. This way, first years. First years. Fantasy is a wondrous world. The courageous and the brave jump headfirst into fantasy novels, but there are many who are hesitant. I don't like witches. I don't like wizards. I only like the real world. That's because you haven't been to the fake one yet. Which fake world is for you? Stay tuned, my friend. Reading a fantasy book is not like reading a contemporary book. It's not like, oh, I'm just gonna pick up this book and read for 10 minutes. Reading a fantasy book is a commitment to adventure, a commitment to bravery. You make that commitment and you reap the benefits of epicness. I find myself in the mood for a fantasy book every 3 books or so. I want to escape out of this world into a different one. First and foremost, my favorite fantasy series of all time, Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling. There are 7 books, they're all fantastic, and if you haven't read them yet, go read them. Anyone can love Harry Potter. BS if you think you didn't like it because you picked up Sorcerer's Stone 10 years ago and you were like, ooh, wizards, not into it. Try again, my friend. People who think wizards are not their thing, they're just people using magic! Everyone should read Harry Potter. Harry Potter, it's called Harry Potter. Harry! Harry Potter! Harry, 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 Harry. What? Nothing. If you've never read fantasy before and you want an easy in, an easy startup book. Before I read Harry Potter, the first books that I was reading were fantasy books. And my obsession with that all started from Roald Dahl, who I've called Ronald Dahl my whole life because I read Roald as Ronald. When I read them as a child, it opened up my eyes to reading and how much fun it could be. I absolutely adore them still. My favorite Roald Dahl books are The Witches and the BFG. My 4th grade teacher read this aloud to us, and this is what made me want to read. I liked reading before, but this is what made me want to just continuously have a book in my hand. The BFG. So good, you guys. It's so good. It was so wonderful. It's about this big friendly giant. That's what BFG stands for. And the witches is about this little kid, and witches exist. They eat kids. Roald Dahl wrote Matilda. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Ronald Dahl. If you haven't read a Ronald Dahl book, I highly, highly recommend it. And if you have kids and want to get them into reading, and the last children's level series I have to show you today is Percy Jackson and the Olympians. These books are fantastic. They're so easy to get into if you have any interest in Greek mythology. They're so much fun to read. If you don't have interest in Greek mythology and you have interest in awesome and funny and epic, you will have interest in Greek mythology after reading Percy Jackson. Being that you're noobs, I'm gonna assume that some of you aren't aware of the Percy Jackson series. 5 books. This takes place between the ages of 12 and 16 for Percy. After this, though, a new series with Percy and other characters, and they are 16 and 17 years old. And this is even better. I love them so much. Rick Riordan is so good with the Greek mythology and the characters and everything ever. Okay, that is Percy Jackson. Even though those are child-level books, they're enjoyable by all. Anyone can enjoy those children's books that I just went through. Moving on to young adult. Cassandra Clare. You're looking for fantasy, but you're looking for humor. You're looking for something that's gonna make you theorize. Something that's gonna keep you excited to the very last page. Something that's gonna keep you laughing. Characters that are gonna make you love the crap out of them. You're looking for the Shadowhunter Chronicles. Now let's just take a second here. I know you've probably heard of these if you've been on my channel before. A lot of people have tried to read the Mortal Instruments by starting with City of Bones. If you don't know, there are 6 books that are Mortal Instruments books. These take place in the year 2007 and 2008, and then there are 3 books called The Infernal Devices, another series. These take place in 1878. There are ancestors from this series and this series. These books are better. They're easier to get into. They're easier to love. This book, you can read the first one and you're gonna be like, what? I don't get what's the big hubbub here, Christine? Why do you like this book so much? I don't understand you. You need to commit to the Mortal Instruments to like the Mortal Instruments. You have to read book 2 as well. If you're still on it, you have to read book 3, and I guarantee you, you will not be after book 3. Okay? If you are, The most common question with these series, though, is how do you read them? And I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to clear this up for the millionth time. My favorite way to read them is in publication order. You can look up the publication dates on the internet. Just Google that crap up. But let's say scenario number 2, you tried reading City of Bones and you didn't like it that much and you just wouldn't pick up book 2, right? You couldn't commit. It is beyond okay. It is wonderful to read The Infernal Devices first. This is my favorite trilogy of all time, in all time. It's fantastic. It's so good. It takes place in London and you just read it. The Infernal Devices. Are finished. A lot of people start reading the Mortal Instruments first. If you read City of Heavenly Fire, the last book in the Mortal Instruments series, it's gonna spoil the Infernal Devices series. So make sure you finish the Infernal Devices before you finish the Mortal Instruments, okay? Okay? Trust me, this series is so good. So, just so good. I love it so, okay. Next I have The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. This is a very different, quirky, weird fantasy series. But the thing with The Raven Boys, this takes a long time to get into. It took me like 110 pages. But after that, I was really intrigued by it. It's about this girl. All of her family are psychics, but she's not a psychic. She's this weird battery thing. So when she's around anyone in her family who's a psychic, it increases their powers. Her town is on a ley line, and the ley line have strange powers, and that might be why the family is psychic. But this boy that she meets is obsessed with ley lines, and he wants to find this dead king that can grant you a wish, and there's a lot of different things going on. If you're looking for something really different and refreshing, these are definitely really interesting reads. Are they thrilling? No. But was I interested and did I want to finish them all? Yes. There's a lot of weird stuff going on. It's going to be a 4-book series. They have really nice matchy covers. Next up, I have the HEIR series by Cinda Williams-Chima. These past few months, I've been working with Hyperion Teen, and they sent me these books, so I just started this series. And it takes place in a world with lots of different levels of wizard. And there's a hierarchy about them. There's wizards and sorcerers and enchanters. It's really interesting. The first book has a lot of world building. Just like in City of Bones, it takes a bit to get into it. But once you hit around page 150, you're flowing. The series is going to be made up of 6 books, but each book is told from a different point of view. So they're all companion novels that must intersect in some way. I've only read the first book at this point, but I've heard that the second book is even better. I am soon going to be picking this up and seeing for myself because the 5th book in the series comes out in the fall. So I'm excited to be picking this up and seeing how it compares to the first book and why everyone loves this one so much more. Up next, we have The Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. And this is quickly becoming one of my favorite fantasy series. There's only 2 books in the series out right now, but there are going to be 6, and it is going to be epic. And there's already a prequel book, and it's just as big as the other books. Throne of Glass follows this kick-ass assassin woman named Selena. She's 19 or 18 or 19 or 18. She's been trained as an assassin since birth. She kicks mad ass. And she lives in a world where there was magic, but magic was abolished by this king, and there are fairies and there are different beings. It's so good. It's action-packed and it has an awesome love line running through it. Highly recommend. The next series I have to show you is the GRACELING series by Kristen Cashore. There are 3 books in this series: FIRE, GRACELING, and BITTERBLUE. It is not really a series. These books are companion novels. FIRE takes place first on the timeline, about, I don't know, 80 years before GRACELING. And they don't connect. You can read them in any order you want. I read GRACELING first of the 3, and this is my favorite of the 3. GRACELING takes place in the middle of the 3 books, and the last book is BITTERBLUE on the timeline here. GRACELING is definitely the easiest way to get into this world. GRACELING is the most fast-paced of the books. They're all not fast-paced. I found FIRE to be really slow. I enjoyed it, but it definitely wasn't my favorite because it took me a long time to get through it. BITTERBLUE was slow as well. I didn't think the conflict was as enticing. I was just reading to see what happened to the characters in GRACELING who do appear in BITTERBLUE. The GRACELING world is a world with 7 kingdoms. It has a Game of Thrones vibe going on. There are kids that are born with 2 different colored eyes, and these kids are going to have a grace. They're going to be extra good at something. There's grace with cooking, there's grace with dancing, and you're like just fantastic, out of this world, supernaturally good at dancing. Our main character is graced with killing, and her uncle is the king, and he uses her as a minion to kill whoever the hell he wants her to kill, and she doesn't like that. And she's a kick-ass female protag. If you like those, you'll like GRACELING. You do have to have a little patience though, because you have to learn the kingdoms and such, but it didn't take me that long. It took me like 50 pages to really start rocking and rolling with GRACELING, and I really enjoyed it. Next I have the Poison Study Trilogy by Maria V. Snyder. I love these books. It took me no time at all to get into them. If it's really hard for you to get into fantasy, try starting with these books. They're so much fun. The main character of the series is named Yelena. She's the poison tester for the commander of the country that she lives in. She's sentenced to death, but the previous food tester has just died, so they offer her the position of food tester, and she takes it. She's like 19 years old. She trains to be the poison tester. There's magic in the world. There are 3 books in the series right now, and Maria V. Snyder is actually writing 3 more books with Yelena as the main character, so I'm really excited about that. You fly through them, she kicks ass. There's magic, there's politics. Really, really enjoyed them. And the last series I have to show you today is the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy by Laini Taylor. Now this trilogy, if you have not started it yet, this is the first book. And it's about this girl who doesn't have any family, and she lives in Prague. There's this whole other fantasy world she's actually a part of. The series is spectacular. I haven't read the 3rd book yet, but I've read 1 and 2, and it's spectacular. The thing is, though, you have to have patience. That's the most important thing with fantasy books, and the most frustrating thing for people who think they don't like them. You have to give them a chance. You can't just instantly be in a fantasy book. It's like an infant being thrown onto Earth. What the hell is this crap? I don't know. I haven't been here before. You gotta give it a second. You're 5 years old. You still really don't know what's going on. You've been here for 5 years, you don't know what's going on. You can't expect to instantly know the world. For Daughter of Smoke and Bone, this actually took me like half the book. There are a lot of new words that you have to learn, and it takes a while. And not until the end that I was like, whoa, this just got cray. It is written beautifully in a way that you go back and forth between different point of views, and things just tie together, and things just click after like half the book. You're like, wait a minute, whoa, but you have to read the whole thing to get it. And then you get to Days of Blood and Starlight, and it's like 5 times better than Smoke and Bone. This is high fantasy, you guys, so you have to give it a second. You're not gonna be sorry that you pushed through it. I wouldn't recommend this to you as your first fantasy venture. No, this is more for noob level 3. My friends, was the Noob's Guide to Fantasy Reads. I hope this was helpful. I hope I introduced you to some new titles. Go get your fantasy read on, and remember the golden rule of fantasy. Give it a second! second! You are grasshopper. You must learn world. I'm Christine. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you next time. Goodbye! Is this you? The world of fantasy novels is a scary world, and it's a blah 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 blah. I just want an Harry Potter book. Why won't you write that? We know she wants to. She's just being rude. That was never me. That was I blah blah. Where's my list of things to say? Ah! Book 7! BS, you don't like Harry Potter. BS, you're 40 and you missed it. First yes. Ow. Ow, 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 ow. Get off my hair. Reading a fantasy book is a commitment. When I grow up, where is Monolith? Tonight I hope you didn't die. Follow me. Everything is alright. I'll be the one to tuck you in to your fantasy books at night. I just want a book that doesn't take place in the real world. I just want to feel like a fetus in a whole new world. I just want something to engage my love of Greek mythology in a fantastical, humorous way. I just want more witchcraft and wizardry after finishing Harry Potter. I just want to levitate this book. I just want my goddamn Hogwarts letter. Dumbledore died, so he forgot to send it to me. They're suffocating me. Which book is the best book? Everything's so confusing. I read a fantasy book once. I was 10 pages in and I just couldn't get into it. What does fantasy mean? Help, I need a dictionary.com. For the word fantasy. How does Webster's dictionary define fantasy?